Well, it's always remarkable there. It's a vast grasslands of what you would think Wyoming and Montana with snow-capped mountains. But one of the trips that we did about 5 years ago, we were about 5 days by truck, four-wheel drive truck, up into the mountains, living with the eagle hunting group. And I had scouted a place up on a hill for a sunset shot, and we wanted to take them up there with their horses and have the eagle hunters up on their horses as the sun went down. Spectacular. And so, as I often do, I like to use my iPad before I do the actual photo shoot. And in this one instance, I took a photograph of this very handsome eagle hunter, and I showed it to him. And in sort of broken English, he says, "Oh, very nice photograph. I'd like a copy." So I took out my notebook and started writing sort of what I thought his address and how we were going to get it to him. And he went, "No, no, 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 no." And he brought out his iPhone. He says, "Just airdrop it to me and I'll put it on my Facebook page." And I thought that was a wonderful story to tell and reveal what is actually really going on with traditional cultures. Just because they're connected to the world with an iPhone or an iPad and they have Facebook pages doesn't mean that their culture is dying away. And I see this so often as I travel around the world, and the work we do with our foundation is that you can have ancient traditions complement modern technology. And in fact, many traditional cultures are using modern technology to preserve, archive, amplify, and share their traditions around the world. Excellent, really good question. You know, in certain environmental circles, humans are the problem, but we believe strongly that humans are the solution. You know, many of these traditional cultures have 10,000 years of traditional knowledge about sustainability, about looking after the forest, about looking after the fish supplies, or the savanna grasslands of Mongolia. And these are traditions where often oral, the information has been passed on from generation to generation. Now, as we face this urgent issue of preserving our uh, planet as well as our cultures around the world, it is imperative that the scientific world adds a few more chairs at the discussion table of how do we solve the world's climate issues. No question, modern science is there and is in present, but a forgotten narrative and a forgotten set of wisdom and traditional knowledge needs to be a part of that. Now, it's not that traditional knowledge will solve all of the world's problems, but one of the fundamental issues and messages coming out of traditional knowledge is that we need to re-wild the planet. We need to reconnect to the earth. We need to respect it as a living being and to weave our daily lives more into a level where it is truly sustainable well beyond the 21st century. I was very fortunate. I had a father that had a job where we traveled around the world. So I grew up in Canada. I grew up in Africa. I grew up as a very young lad in Australia. And my father would often during the summers take my brother and I out into the Aborigine communities. And at that time, I was just beginning to get into photography. There were all the National Geographics in our library, and I'd pull them out and see the photographs. And then the coin just clicked that I wanted to commit my life to using photography to be a part of the process of not only preserving, but maintaining and amplifying traditional culture. You know, Margaret Mead, the great social anthropologist, once said her greatest fear, having been born into a polychromatic world, that her children, and indeed all of our children, will wake up one day in a monochromatic world and never know the difference. Our best asset as humans is our differences, is our diversity, and is our stories of what it means to be human.